times that were sort of very vocal politically, trying to express myself, about what I think. Fees Must Fall is a political movement of students, activists who believed that the commodification of education is just not just in South Africa, considering that our constitution affords each and every citizen a right to education. There's no money that must hinder you from studying, and I think Fees Must Fall was now a movement which now conceptualized and interrogated the nature of higher education. I also had the role of, I'm a singist, where that's what it's called in Fees Must Fall. I would sing to keep the morale, I would sing to sort of also rile up the people, and I was able to use sort of that craft to sort of push, what the movement wanted to do. We are the people that sort of give it a language and to give it a political character. If they putting money as a barrier, they are then reserving this privilege of education to rich people. And it was the case in 1976 when people took to the streets. So there's nothing that really changed.
Education is very important in this family because our late dad, he would say he wants to be sure that when he's no longer around, everyone will be able to look after themselves, to maintain and support their families. So we made us take education seriously. I got to know about Fees Must Fall on TV because Koketso, most of the things he doesn't discuss them with me. He's saying, I know you're going to stress a lot about them. So I only started seeing him on TV. That's when I called him and asked him questions. Koketso, why are you always on the forefront every time when there's something about Fees Must Fall? He'll just laugh about it and say, don't worry, I'll always take care of myself.
Being someone who comes from the background that I come from, I didn't have money of my own, like my mother's salary and my father's salary. They couldn't afford to take me through varsity. So I was affected. I was on aid, I was on financial aid. We sort of put a blanket approach into our struggle and we sharpened, our language in terms of characterizing what the problem is. We saw a common enemy, which is capitalism.
The first case of coronavirus in South Africa has been confirmed.
The National Coronavirus Command Council has decided to enforce a nationwide lockdown. All South Africans will have to stay at home.
I'm a counselor at the clinic. So when COVID was announced, already we knew what was happening at the time. My little girl, the 14-year-old, every time when I come back from work, she would say, undress when you are still at the door, Mama. Take my clothes and put them in a plastic, sanitize everything. So I could see that I even putting their lives at risk. There was nothing to do, it's just to follow the regulations. That is the kind of work I'm doing. That's how we survive. The third wave has affected everyone. I'm glad my family understands COVID better now. They understand the importance of staying at home. You only go out when there's a need for you to go buy some groceries. And I'm happy because most of them are working from home. I'm the only one who's going out.
When the president announced that there'd be a lockdown due to COVID, I was shook. There was a lot of uncertainty because I had plans. I didn't know what would happen next after the 21 days period, because also 21 days is too long for someone like me, being in one environment for a long time sort of gets to me. It feels like idleness. it now put us in a sense of isolation. For example, in instrument yami, mangithi ngizodlala ngempempe yami, like when you complain like I'm singing practice my skills wami yabo ukuthi you irritating us, you know, with that instrument of yours, and like I couldn't express myself in that way, you know, that I'm usually used to, or like mabayile emsebenzini, I know I'm alone, so no one complains. It was characterized, I think, by uncertainty, doubt, but also curiosity in the sense of what's really gonna come up next. And at the time, I was sort of frightened a little for some of my plans. Like, I'd recently registered an NPO, you know. I wanted to start the shop, you know, not employed, not studying. There must be something I'm doing that would give me value for time.
There's a lot of things I don't know about Koketso, especially when it comes to things that he's doing outside. I get to learn about them from people. I was trying to discourage him because obviously he didn't have funds, but he was so convinced that it will materialize at the end. So I ended up deciding that I need to support him as much as I can.
Yeah, I did that. The summer house crew and friends were going to thrift. Summer house is a thrift shop, so it's important that we thrift, that there's income coming on the end of, like, you know, the products that we're going to stock today. It's important also because that's how we sustain our events, you know. If we don't do this part of the job, then we are not able to push other projects. Like, we pay for the food of skaters, sometimes through donation, but sometimes through like the profits from summer house. During when, like, you know, level 3 kanji, level 4, like business was not moving. Even now, like, it's not moving as smooth, you know, as we had projected it to move. It limited us in the sense of resources and budget. I don't skate personally. I'd fall probably if I tried, you know. But the challenge that you face when it comes to the skating club is the fact that we've been completely dependent on the summer house business, you know. Sinokushama donation there, say like, so that needs like transport money, airtime, we just communicate and that. Like, if we're on the field the whole day, like food, stuff like that. So the fact that the economy was not at its normal state sort of dealt with us. We know that also we're not the only sort of organization which is affected. And what will now test our character is how we handle the situation. There are a lot of other clubs, you know, there are a lot of other entities, businesses that are affected by COVID in their respective ways. I know as a person, you need to keep pushing, you need to keep chasing the next accomplishment, chasing the next goal. Donation, Papa. Donation. Sure. So, guys, I think there's 3 things we need to do. Yeah? Number 1 is to fetch the sound. Number 2, it's to organize like into the catering. Number 3 is to set up. After sound, it's ohlukana. Abanye bayiphakile, abanye baye mall for food. Okay, guys, let's go have fun. Let's make it happen.
As always.
Sure. Then, go basketball court la go phake. Tla re latella mos. Sure.
A re lateng.
Samana la ka bana go le bekela. Okay. Give up.
A re le batla sound balance.
Okay. They fetching one more speaker. Yeah. COVID has affected young people in the sense that it has brought a new routine. There's gaps between the days that you go to school. So your relationship with school also doesn't become that much hands-on. And the fact that sports is no longer a thing, it means the education experience is now limited to only academics, which means like, you know, even those that could have gotten sports bursaries, for example, it means, you know, no one will scout them. There's also idle time. You know, they say it's the devil's playground. It can be the time where bad ideas come, you know. COVID has now put disadvantaged people in a further disadvantage. That's how I saw young people being affected. But also I saw, you know, some positives come out of it.
Sanbonani, Echa, shout out, Aways. Guys, please can I have your attention for a short period. So guys, just 2 minutes announcement, ne? We're gonna have a game of skates. The hood is the first prize, ne? Long sleeve tee, second prize. Third prize, short sleeve tee, ne? We're gonna have a cipher here, ne?
Cause I'm cool like that. Gibella, I'm a beat and go do on tracks. Fire, I'm a foot, I see when Dofong, I'm a be well. I'm a blacksmith, she's in Simbi when they iron out the details. Exenesi a Gibel, Gena Gula Dexy, so you go and push your detail. People sitting.
We tried to push it against all odds. Whether we had resources or not, we were pushing the idea and the love for skating. Like, I can wake up on the day of the event and not have funding, but that will not stop me.
I'll bring it straight back to you. I've been on the road.
It's not easy being a single parent. 2013-14, we got retrenched, and the provident fund that I had was the one that pushed Koketso to register every year at Wits to buy books. So I didn't want to spend it on anything except on him, because I believe and I knew that if he can get his degree, he'll be the one taking care of the little girl. I was very happy when Koketso was accepted at Wits, because it's one of the top universities in the country. So I felt that at least he's going to get his degree and he will be able to maintain himself in future.
These are the students that have been brought here by police. There'd been a clash much earlier on this morning after students attempted to close off some of the entrances and some of the roads around Wits University.
On the news, I heard that 12 students were arrested at Wits. Then immediately I stopped, because I knew Koketso is going to be amongst the 12 who were arrested. And he was trying to hide from the cameras. I could tell that that's Koketso. So I was scared, because I didn't know what was going to happen to him when he said he was in Afri police station. What were police going to do to him? Because obviously when you are clashing with police, you are putting your life at risk.
Being at the forefront of the student struggle meant that like certain things would stick with you. And those kinds of things unsettle you as a student, because you're scared what you remember expelled.
This is a letter I received from Wits. They arrived here 9 p.m. at night. It reads as follows: Dear Sir or Madam, we have been notified that your registration with the university has been cancelled. Moreover, that you are no longer a registered student of the university. You are accordingly no longer authorized to enter the university's premises
All of the university's rights remain reserved, including but not limited to its right to proceed against you for unauthorized entry should you not comply with the terms of this letter. It's bringing emotions which are not nice, but I'm trying to hold my tears. So I think Wits failed me as a parent. I feel they are failing our black students. I believe as a student he could have been punished differently.
My only crime is to stand for an idea, which is to say students in South Africa must study for free. I know that I'm lynched, and when a black body is lynched, the lynching is not done for the body that is being lynched, but it is done for the other black bodies that are watching to say that this is what will happen to you. I know I did fail my mother, because she, for a lot of times, told me to, don't fight for others, They must fight for themselves, because sometimes
I saw it as a loss somehow because I invested so much on his education. But I still have hope because with 1 year remaining, we can still achieve that. So I believe even if years has passed, he lost 2-3 years of his time, but it's not late. He can still get his degree.
My relationship with my mother, we're close, but it's not too intimate. We talk on a need to talk basis. To the best of my ability, I try and shield her from my troubles, and I think she does the same. I'd rather try and fight battles on my own rather than, to burden her with stress. I know she has a stress of her own. There's a lot of despair, even now, it's triggering. I always try and to be calm about it, but including the I know I'm academically capable, including the I was tutoring some students even when I was out. Those students, have graduated, and I'm still here. It has deprived me of an opportunity to be that child in the family who has accomplished.
I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I fell into depression. The PTSD diagnosis was when I was still in Wits. The protests taking their toll on me, and I blamed myself a lot. I think that was the source of everything, and me being a leader, me being a person who people know as youthful, energetic, young man who's always singing, bringing people together. I couldn't afford to be out and seen like that, so I closed myself in the room, like a very lazy secular routine, which was not that much productive, but it was important because that's when I came up with the idea of the foundation. That's where I came up with the idea of business. That's when it started manifesting that since we're not academics, since I'll never be a professional, I can't just sit in the township. I had to pick myself up and find ways, because the pain can also inspire creative work.
He was touring with his music group, so there are things that is keeping him busy, and that helped him to get out of that depression and see a light, even when there's no light.
Iphupho lika Biko, it's a jazz band that is Joburg based. We believe ourselves to be carriers of the spirit of Biko, the spirit of self-determination, the spirit of black pride. And we believe in conscientizing people, spreading awareness and consciousness. But we know that art, it has always had its way of fueling consciousness and fueling a certain way of seeing things. COVID affects us in the sense that we can't organize gigs anymore. We can't organize rehearsals. Worst of all, we're dispersed. It now put us in a sense of isolation, which has its pros and cons. Obviously, it gave me time with my craft. It gave me time with myself, and it taught me a lot of things, about my range, about, my style, and it gave me more of an idea of the things that I must put in much more effort into. Uthixo Khona, we rearranged. This was during COVID time, so we wanted to capture the spirit that it will be fine, because a lot of us were affected by COVID. A lot of people lost jobs. I have no regrets. If there's a protest, I go, because I know why black people must fight, and I know that the world must change.
What I've learned from Fuse Must Fall, which has helped me survive this pandemic, is I did not want to allow, the world to make me feel bad for wanting to see good in it. The idea of agents is important as a human being, to not have things done and said on your behalf, but to do things yourself, your own way, at your own terms.